Welcome to the video. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a house song in the style of Fred Again and Swimming Pool that sounds something like this. So let's start off by looking at the intro. So we've just got a simple kick drum that's played on every beat. So on this kick drum, we've just got a simple EQ that's scooping out a lot of the mids and just rolling off a lot of the very low end. So without the EQ, it's going to sound like this. And with the EQ on, it sounds like this. On every other beat, we've also got these snare sounds in. So we've got a rim sounding snare. And we've also got this more deeper sounding snare. The snare drum has also been sent to a bus where we've got an EQ on there, just boosting the mids and rolling off a little bit of the high end. So altogether, it sounds like this so far. On top of these elements as well, we've also got some hi-hat patterns. So the first one sounds like this. Just a little loop that's been chopped up and we're just exaggerating the offbeat. This has also been layered with this loop as well. Again, exaggerating that offbeat hi-hat. So altogether so far we've got something that sounds like this. In the intro as well, as it comes in, we've got these crash sounds. So these are made up of an explosion sound. We've just got some EQ there rolling off a lot of the high end and getting rid of the harshness of it. Without the EQ it sounds like... And with the EQ, we've also got some crash sounds in here as well. So we've got this one, which has been sent to a very long reverb. The reverb's coming from Valhalla Room. We've got an 11-second reverb, so very long. And also the reverb signal has been EQ'd as well, just to get rid of a lot of the low end of that reverb. We've also got another crash in here as well. And we've got this percussive rain hit sound. Altogether so far we've also got this synth sound that comes in. We've also got this white noise down filter as well. On this sound I'm using LFO tool to give a sidechain effect for the kick. I've also got this effect fill in the intro. On this sound I'm using Valhalla delay just to add a 1/4 delay to it. I've also got some other riser sounds as well that will build up towards the main drop of the song that sound like. So these are made up of this synth riser. I've also got another synth riser. An extra riser towards the end. I've also got this vocal delay which was recorded in by myself and I'm using Valhalla delay to delay the sound. This sound has also been sidechained to the kick drum using LFO tool. Other sounds in the intro at the start, we've got this drone sound. I've also got an intro piano in here. So the intro at the minute sounds something like this. You can hear all those effects rising up now. You can hear the vocal riser. And I've got a 1 bar gap just before the drop just to build some tension. In the intro as well, there's this bass sound. Just playing an A sharp, which is the key of the song. I'm using an envelope to control the cutoff of this filter to give that pluck sound. I've also got some automation in here on this bass layer just to open up the filter. I've also got this synth melody in here as well as we build up towards the drop. I'm using a plugin called the Drop just to open up a low pass filter. On this sound as well, we've got some Valhalla delay, as well as some Valhalla reverb to add some space to the sound. In the intro as well, I've also got these pad effects as well that come in. So on this pad, I've got some shimmer reverb, as well as a compressor, and some multiband compression just to control the high end. Altogether, the intro is going to sound like this. In the break just before the main drop, I've also got this vocal effect. On this, I've used Little Altar Boy just to add some formant. If I take it off, and with the plug-in on. Also on this sound, I've just got some Valhalla delay 1/4. I've also got this rap vocal as well. Yo. So now we get to the main drop of the song, which is going to sound like this. Yo. So as we get to the drop of the song with the drums, we've got the hi-hat shakers from the intro as well as the kick drum. I've also got 2 different clap sounds layered on top of each other on every other beat. They're made up of 2 sounds, one of them is, and the second one. I've also got some percussion layers. I've got some tambourines. I've got the main offbeat hi-hat. So altogether so far we've got... I've got some more percussion. I've also got some live hi-hat sounds. These live hi-hats are just coming from Superior Drummer, with just some slight EQ to take off a lot of the low end. I've also got some other crashes which featured in the intro. So altogether, the drums for the drop are going to sound something like this. So let's have a look at the bass. So for the drop, we've got this drone sound. Just a simple sound that was made inside Serum. To this sound, I've also added some EQ to take away a bit of the low end and a little bit of the mids. And I'm also using LFO tool to sidechain to the kick. That's been layered with this rolling bass. This sound was made inside Serum. We're using an envelope to control the cutoff of the filter. I've also got this simple sub bass layer, which is just a sine wave in Serum. So altogether, the drop with those basses is now sounding something like this. So now we've got the bass and the drums, we need some chords to fill out the sound. So I've got this string sound which I made in Serum. These are just following the chord sequence of the song, so F sharp, G sharp and A sharp. On these strings we've just got some basic EQ just to roll off a lot of the high end. I've also got some piano chords which come from Contact, this piano called Nora Pure. Now altogether the drop is sounding something like this. Yo. Now we're going to add in some lead to the song. So the lead we've got sounds like this. Almost following the bass, but we've just added some other notes in here as well to add variety. This sound is just coming from Serum, just 2 saw waves passed into a filter. This has also been duplicated and we've got this sound which is layered on top. So the weirdness of that sound is actually coming from this LFO that's just controlling the sync of this square wave. So both together those elements are going to sound like this. So far the drop is sounding something like this. Now we're going to look at adding some vocals to the drop. So the raw vocal sample sounds like this.
Not too late to chase the sun.
So we're going to use this sample and play around with it and see if we can come up with something interesting. So this is what we've come up with in terms of the vocals.
Chase the sun. Chase the sun.
So let's look at the first part. So what I've done is chopped up this sound. So I'm basically saying a different word on every single beat. On here as well, we've got some little alter boy. I'm actually pitching it up a whole octave and adding some formant. If I disable this plugin, but I wanted to pitch it up a whole octave. On here as well, we've also got some Valhalla Room reverb. I've also got some EQ just rolling off a lot of the low end. And I've got some H delay as well, a ping pong delay, so it's going either side, 1/4. I've also used a little part of these vocals, chopped out a little section, just made a little groove with it. As we go towards the fourth bar of the drop, we have
Chase the sun.
which is the same as the original raw vocal, except we've added an EQ to filter out a lot of the highs and lows. All together with those vocals, the drop is sounding like this. So we've added in this vocal from the intro. And now we build up to the second part of the drop, which will sound like this. So in this drop, we've got some other elements that come in. The vocals have been slowed down slightly to match what they sounded like as a raw vocal. So on here as well, we've got some little alter boy adjusting the formant. We've got some saturation from Saturn, just a little bit of distortion. We've got some EQ taking off a lot of the high end and a lot of the low end. It's also being sent to a Valhalla delay. And we've also got this phrase at the end, which was from the first drop. Different vocals. And we resolve here. You can really hear that delay on that. I've also got some classic housey synth stabs. This sound again was made in Serum using an envelope to control the cutoff. On this sound I've got some LFO tool to duck down from the kick drum. This is also being sent to a Valhalla delay 1/8. There's also this lead melody that happens. Just to add some variety to the song, as I wanted more elements on the second part of the drop. Altogether we have something that sounds like this. So the third part of the drop sounds like this. In terms of the stabs, we've actually layered them with a piano. This piano is just coming from Contact, this piano called the Giant. I've also layered that with this pad sound. And we've got this main vocal hook. Raindrops are falling over me. So that's a vocal I recorded in myself. On here we've got an EQ taking away a lot of the low end, some multiband compression, scooping out some of the low mids and using it as a de-esser. We're also compressing it using this 1176 emulation. We've got some reverb on here, some delay, and we're using Little Alter Boy to adjust the formant. Altogether, the final drop is going to sound like this. So that's how we make a house song in the style of Fred again.